Hey guys, Tammy here. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how the narcissist's win in court is often their downfall. Okay, so if you've just come out of a situation where you faced your narcissist in court and they won, then this is the video for you to be watching because it's going to give you some hope that you probably desperately need in this moment. Before I dig into this topic, let me remind you, as always, if you like this video, you like my content, don't forget to hit like. Also subscribe to the channel so that you get notified as new videos are released. And I'm on a little kick lately because I have found out that 70% of my viewership is not subscribed to my channel. So please subscribe. I need the love. Please help me out, okay? If you have just come out of court and you feel like your narcissist had a win, okay, that can be really disheartening because it feels for us like the system got it wrong, right? Like the system didn't do what it was designed to do. It bought all the charisma, all the charm, all the talking their way through all the stuff. The court bought it all hook, line, and sinker, right? That's how that can really feel. But I think what happens is, we come into court and we know the whole story of our life, right? We know all of it. All right. And if you have an attorney that you're working with and you've been lucky enough to spend a decent amount with that attorney probably knows this much of your life, right? They have a little window into this part of your life. But then you go in front of the judge and they're deciding on a key issue like custody only, then what they're left with is kind of like a little pinhole, right? View of what's going on in your life and what's going on in this situation, what the dynamics are, who all the different players are, and all that kind of thing. And they're left with a very minuscule amount of information to make a very monumental decision many times. And when they get it wrong, we can feel really disheartened. The irony is when you have a narcissist on the other side, and then the narcissist feels like they got this little victory in court, what happens a lot of times is that narcissist actually feels emboldened, okay? They can become even more difficult to deal with because now they feel like they went in and they fooled the judge, right? Again, they used that charm, charisma, whatever, and they've actually succeeded in convincing the judge to side with them, okay? Now, that's what it can feel like to us too, and that is probably what it feels like for the narcissist as well. I think a lot of that is really not understanding the system, not understanding what the judge is looking for, especially in the very beginning, because a lot of times in the very beginning, what we're trying to do is get the court to see how this other parent is, right? How toxic they are, how abusive they are, how whatever, pick your adjective, that they are. And so we really want the court to see that, hear that, acknowledge that, and then apply that information in our case. And the problem is that that's a very emotional viewpoint of the situation. And it's not the lens through which the court makes their assessment of the situation. Okay, so the very first thing is for you to get educated and understand how the court's coming at this. But beyond that, once the court makes a ruling, and if it was kind of what the narcissist wanted, and they become emboldened, here's what I find happen after the fact. They come out of court and they suddenly think they're above it all, right? I mean, they probably thought they were above it all before, but now they really think that they're above it all. What will start to happen is they will become more and more emboldened to do whatever they want to do because they think they're above it all. They think they're going to go in, they're just going to talk and charm the judge. This is how they've gotten through their whole life, by talking and charming people, right? Regardless of what goes on behind closed doors, as we all know. But that's what they've gotten by on in life, is just that ability to talk their way through things. So they're going to become even more emboldened, and they're actually probably even more likely to act out in certain ways. That helps you because when they're acting out, that's when you are gathering evidence of their behaviors and the situation and the problems. A lot of times somebody will go into court, and if the ruling is against what the narcissist wanted, a lot of times that narcissist will shape up temporarily, right? And then it'll look like they're being wonderful and everything's great and all this. And you're like, no, they're really a jerk, but I can't gather evidence that they're a jerk because they're being so super cooperative right now because they just kind of didn't do great in court. Okay. And that's a whole different dynamic. But in this instance, when they do great in court and then they come out, then a lot of times they'll become even bolder in their behaviors because they think, again, that they're above it and they've got the judge convinced. And so your job in that situation is to document and keep track of everything, but not let them see you sweat. You know, I had a client today that said to me, so basically I have to be kind of over here scheming and tracking and, plotting and, strategizing and all of these things, while at the same time on the outward appearance, acting like nothing's happening, everything's fine, and there's no problems. And I said, exactly. That's exactly what you have to do. And the reason for that is because when you are acting like everything's fine and there's no problems and no whatever, then the narcissist doesn't know that what they're doing is getting to you. Again, they become more emboldened because they think they're not even paying attention. They're oblivious. That's what they think. They're stupid. They're oblivious. They don't even know what's going on. They're not even paying attention to anything I'm doing. So I can just do whatever I want because they're so dumb. They're not picking up on it anyway. Meanwhile, over here, you're not so dumb, right? You're doing a document log like Tammy recommends. You're doing the correct responses on your communication and all of those things. You're handling interactions with them or anything of that nature the way you need to. You're, making sure that you're on point with not putting the kids in the middle and not, essentially you're behaving well, right? You're doing all the things that I try to teach clients to do in this process, but you're doing it very quietly over here. And then your face to your narcissist should just be this oblivious, innocent, like, nothing's going on. I have no idea. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just oblivious. I'm just over here hanging out, right? Because again, we're almost like luring them into that negative behavior, because what you need to do is gather evidence that documents the patterns of the negative behavior or the patterns of the problematic thing. And right after they've won in court is one of the very best times for this dynamic to work in your favor in this way, where you can say, not say verbally, but say through your actions and the way you're conducting yourself, I'm not bothered, like everything's fine, I'm oblivious, I'm not paying attention to you, you go do whatever you want to do. That's one of the best times to make them feel like that's true, because they've had that win in court. And then a lot of times they will have a major screw up after that, because they do become so confident that they, many times I see them do something that really ends up being a big linchpin in the custody case and ends up really significantly impacting the parenting time, because they just do something so crazy, so outlandish, because they're convinced they're above it after their court win. So that's how that can work in your favor. If you'd like to learn more strategies for dealing with your narcissistic ex, you can go to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. There's a link on that page. You can book a time to speak to a member of my staff, learn more about my services, and how I can support you in co-parenting with a narcissist. All right. See you guys next time.
We'll grow in number. closer.